So, good day everyone. I'm Mariel J. Maduay. Our topic for today is meaning-based perspectives on second language learning. So, this topic focuses on how learners use language to communicate meaning in real situation, not just learning grammar rules, communication guide, goals guide, language learning in learners create their own interlanguage while developing skill in order to understand learners' language developing. So, early functionalist studies of second language learning emerged in 1970s when researchers began to view learner language not as fluent version of the target language but as a system with its own structure and rules. Instead of focusing only on grammar mistakes, scholars grew more interested in how learners communicate and express meaning while learning a new language. Syntactic mode relies on correct grammar and language structure to convey meaning, while pragmatic mode relies more on context, vocabulary, and situation to express ideas, even if grammar is incomplete. Dedmer 1984 studied Spanish migrants in Germany who were still beginners in German. So there was a mixing um, so sentence mixing German or Spanish, code switching to make a promise about bringing back a bottle of coconut from Spain. So although the grammar was not accurate, the listener understood the intended meaning. Because of context, this show that that communication can still be successful even syntax is limited. So let's proceed to the table of pragmatic and syntactic modes in second language learning. So the given 1979 ideas that language can be used in two main ways. So pragmatic mode and syntactic mode. These modes shows how learners organize their sentences when they are still developing their second language skills. So pragmatic mode. So this mode is usually found in early stages of language learning. Learner focus on more on meaning rather than correct grammar. Pragmatic modes includes topic structure, talk about topic first, then give information. Low sentence connections, low segmented speech, simple verbs, but many of them less or no grammatical endings. Grammar morphology, intonation used to show what's important. Um, Learners talk like, for example, me hungry. The message is clear, even without correct grammar. So let's proceed to syntactic mode. So this mode represents more advanced language use. Learners become more accurate and follow grammar rules. So syntactic mode includes subject predicate structure, complex grammar and sentence linking, faster and smooth speech, more nouns with complex meanings. So clear grammar endings in rules. For example, it follows a sentence that has clear grammar endings and rules. Example, I am hungry because I didn't eat lunch. Okay. So let's proceed to the next topic. Okay, so long-term case study. So meaning it in a long-term case study, um, meaning it followed one person for a long time, like it conducted by a research named Hobner 1983. So the learner a man named G. He was an adult immigrant in Hawaii. His native language was Hung, and he also spoke Lao. He arrived with no English. So Gil learned English naturally by working full-time at a garden center. He did not attend any language classes. Hobner met with Guy in audio, recorded their informal conversation. Every 3 weeks, the researchers analyzed the specific forms, the bits of grammar and vocabulary that appear in Guy's developing English called interlanguage. The goal was to see how Guy used those forms to manage information in this course. So how he organized and presented what he was talking about. So in our PPT, there in the slide there's example the phrase he used. So it so the meaning of this is as for the work I do every day, it involves watering the plants. Is an example of the kind of speech Hobner analyzed. So Sato studied how do people learning a language move from speaking in simpler, less structured ways, parataxes, to using more complex grammatically complete sentences. Syntactizations using Gibbon's theory as a starting point. The subjects were two Vietnamese brothers, Ta, Ta and Tai. In their early teens, they were immigrants to the USA and were living with a white American foster family. They attended school but didn't receive special English as a second language instruction. This is important because it means their language acquisition was largely natural, through immersion. Sato met with the boys every week for several months to collect information, conversation data. So, so you can see in the slide there was a example of conversation of the of the two Vietnamese brothers. So next next
So, good afternoon everyone. My name is Hanifik Giodonga and I am the next reporter. So, let's move on to the tan and tai, the expression of past time reference. So, here, studies studied that two boys learning English over 10 months and found out that they made little progress in using grammatical past tense forms. So instead of using the regular ed ending, they usually indicated past time with adverbs, like yesterday, or relied on context. Only a few irregular past forms, like bought and came, appeared. So this slow development matches findings from other studies showing that natural non-classroom learners take a long time to acquire past tense inflections. Formal instruction, however, can speed up this process as noted by Bardavy Harlig 2000. So, Sato also observed that not using past tense endings rarely caused communication problems for the boys. So, there was little need for them to use them. And additionally, the ed ending was not very noticeable in the English they heard. And their first language made it difficult for them to pronounce English word endings correctly. So next slide. Okay, Sato was studying how learners of a second language or SLL, in this case, children move from simple ways of putting sentence together, which is the parataxis, to more complex connected speech is the syntacticization. So he wanted to see how their ability to use propositions, like ideas or statements, changes as their language develops. So first, what is proposition? By the way, dili na ako basahon ang nasa PPT, so I will explain it na lang. So again, what is proposition? A proposition is basically a single, meaningful statement like a simple idea or clause. So for example of one proposition, I like apples. So example of multiple propositions, I like apples because they are sweet. So this has two propositions connected by because. So when Sato talks about multi-propositional utterances, he means sentences that contain more than one idea joined together. So parataxis in early stage, parataxis is when learners just put sentences or ideas side by side. So often without using grammar connectors, like because, when, if, or so. So they rely on context, tone, and help from their conversation partner to make meaning clear. So Sato predicted that in the parataxis stage, we would see mostly non-propositional speech, not full ideas like yes, or there. So few multi-propositional sentences. So again, few multi-propositional sentences, usually just one idea per utterance. So a lot of collaboration from the listener, the other person helps figure out what they mean. So few grammatical connectors, they just say things like and or nothing at all. For example of parataxis, I go school, teacher nice, I happy. So each sentence is short and separate, no connectors like because or so. So in syntacticization or later stage, means moving toward more complex grammar linking ideas within sentences using grammar instead of just sequencing ideas. So Sato predicted that in this stage, learners would show more propositional speech or more full ideas. So more multi-propositional utterances or joining ideas together. Less reliance on the listener to figure things out. More use of connectiveness like because, when, if, and but. So for example of syntacticization, I am happy because my teacher is nice. Now there is a clear grammatical connection, which is the because between two ideas. So however, Sato's results did not fully match what he expected. So the learners, the Tan and Tai, already use lots of propositional speech or full ideas, even need much help from their conversation partners, maybe because they were older and more cognitively mature than younger kids in earlier studies. But they didn't use many multi-propositional sentences. They mostly said one idea at a time. So when they did combine ideas, they usually just put them next to each other. So simple juxtaposition. So often linked only by and. Some of their propositional sentences came from memorized chunks like I don't know, he say, you say, I think. So these phrases help them build more complex structures later, kind of like stepping stones into real syntax. So next slide. So here are the examples of press course. So first is the infinitival complement. So we have here an example. Hi, want me go foy back. So the real ang meaning ani is he want me go full back. So the explanation of here is instead of using the correct infinitive form to go or play, Thai just strings the verbs together. This is paratactic because the verbs are just placed side by side. The want plus me plus go without the connecting to. So next is the WH complement. So we have here an example again. The no I pikiday what story aj wa in 3I with me. So the meaning of this is no I pick it out what story I want and she read me. So explanation, instead of embedding the WH clause, which story I wanted properly, Thai just adds it after Thai adds it after the first clause. Like, I pick it out what story I want. Again, ideas are just juxtaposed, not grammatically connected. So next slide. The third example here is the relative clause. So the example, Tanhai Sej Ada Pib Sej 16 Dej can go to MVR. So the meaning of this is Tan he say the people day 16 they can go to movie. So Tan says that people who are 16 can go to R-rated movies. So meaning Thai does not use a proper relative pronoun like who. He just repeats subjects, which is the people, they 16, they can go. That's another paratactic structure. Repeating clauses instead of embedding them, adverbial clause, last adverbial clause, example, we walk and I saw the dead. So, meaning, we walking, I saw the dear dead. When we were walking, I saw the dead deer. That's the right term. So the explanation here is the learner just puts the action side by side, which is the we walking plus I saw, without using a connecting word like when. So again, it's paratactic, two simple propositions, one after another. So next slide. So the European Science Foundation project was a large-scale 2.5-year study of adult migrants learning second languages, naturally the English, German, Dutch, French, and Swedish. So in 5 European countries, participants came from diverse first language backgrounds and were not in language classes. So researchers regularly recorded them performing tasks like informal conversation, role plays, picture descriptions, and storytelling to observe naturalistic second language development across multiple language spheres. The study looked at 5 target languages: the English, German, Dutch, French, Swedish. So the participants spoke different first language, which is the Punjabi, the Italian, the Turkish, Arabic, Spanish, and Finnish. So this created 10 language pairs, that is combinations of first language and target language. So for example, as you can see sa picture, the Punjabi to English, Italian to German, Turkish to Dutch, Arabic to French, Spanish to Swedish, Finnish to English, and etc. So the pattern is basically each target language was studied with multiple first languages. So researchers could see how different first language backgrounds affects the acquisition of the same second language. So this allows for cross-linguistic comparisons and helps identify general trends in naturalistic second language learning. So next slide, the ESF project aimed um, to study how adult migrants naturally learn a second language and how their communication with native speakers works. So they also wanted to see what internal factors like memory or cognitive strategies and external factors like social interaction affect how quickly and successfully people learn a language. So functional approach, Lean and Perdue took a functional approach to second language acquisition, the SLA, instead of focusing only on formal grammar rules like n-bar structure. They look at how learners use language to communicate meaning in real context. So, for example, how learners express time, the, the past, present, future, or refer to people and objects in conversation. Grammar structures like n-bar are the outcome of learners trying to communicate, not the initial goal of learning. So, 3 developmental levels of learners' utterances using the Charlie Chaplin film retellings. They identified 3 functional stages in how learners organize their sentences. So, first is the nominal utterance organization, the NUO. Learners mainly use nouns or noun phrases. Example, boy, ran, dog. Very simple, just naming people, objects, and actions. So, next is the infinite utterances organization, the IUO. Learners start using infinitive verbs using simple verb forms to link actions. For example, boy go park, see dog. Still simple, but verbs start to show sequence or finite. Last is the finite utterance organization, the FUO. So learners begin using fully conjugated verbs, tense, and more complex sentence structures. For example, the boy went to the park and saw a dog. This is complete grammatically organized sentences. So next slide. So we have here the example of those utterances. So you can explain this. So first is the back door stand, the policeman right. So the meaning of this, the policeman is standing at the back door. So next, she pushing policeman. So meaning she is pushing the policeman. So third, Charlie and girl and policeman put on the floor. So meaning Charlie, the girl, and the policeman are put on the floor. So the fourth one is car gone, meaning the car has gone or the car has left. 5. Charlie get up first. So meaning Charlie gets up first. So 6. He say daughter, sorry, plus he pick up girl plus Charlie. So meaning he says sorry to the daughter and picks up the girl and Charlie. 7. Say go on, meaning he says go on. 8. This time nobody see you, meaning this time nobody sees you. 9. Policeman get up, meaning the policeman gets up. Lastly, Charlie hit in the head, meaning Charlie is hitting someone on the head. So next reporter.
So, good day everyone. So, let's move on to the constraint on the basic variety. So, the European Science Foundation or ESF project studied how adult learners of different first language learned a new language. So, the researchers found that all learners, no matter what their native language was, use a simple and similar language structure when learning. This early stage of speech is called the basic variety. So more learners started with this basic variety and later they developed more advanced form of language. So the basic variety has a very little grammar, like for example, words are not changed to show tense or agreement. Instead, the structure of sentences follows a few simple rules or constraints. So these constraints are grouped into three types, which is the phrasal, semantics, and pragmatics. So the first one is the phrasal constraint. So these rules describe how words are ordered in a sentence. So the basic variety, it allows three common sentence patterns. So as you can see in the slides, they are A, B, and C. So let's start today letter A. So the example here, since noun phrase 1 plus verb and noun phrase 2. So the example here is Charlie hit policeman. So Charlie hit policeman. So sa letter B, it is noun phrase 1, copula, noun phrase 2, and it's adjective and prepositional phrase. So Charlie is happy or Charlie is in restaurant. So that is the example in letter B. So the letter C, which is verb and noun phrase 2. So example here is eat food. So in this pattern, noun phrase 2 must be a real word like food, policeman, while noun phrase 1 can be a word like Charlie, a pronoun he, or sometimes even left out. So verbs are not changed, no, as, ed, and etc. So time or place words like now, in the restaurant can be added at the beginning or end. So that is the phrasal constraints. The second one is the semantic constraints. So these rules are about meaning, especially about who controls or performs the action. In most sentences, one person or thing does the actions, the controller or agent, and another receives it, effective person or object. So for example, phrasal constraints. The second one is the semantic constraints. So these rules are about meaning, especially about who controls or performs the action. In most sentences, one person or thing does the actions, the controller or agent, and another receives it, effective person or object. So for example, Charlie hit the policeman. So here, Charlie has more control because he is the controller, and the policeman is the one affected. So the rule says that the controller or the person or thing doing the action should come first in the sentence. So learner would say things like she pushing policeman or Charlie hitting the head. Even the grammar isn't perfect, the meaning is clear because of the order. So that's the second one, the semantics. So let's move on to the third, which is the pragmatic constraints. So these rules are about how information is given communication, what is already known, which is the topic, and what is new or the focus. So when people answer questions or tell stories, they usually mention old information first, which is the topic, and new information last, which is the focus. So for example, question, where is the police? Where is the policeman? So answer, back door stand the policeman. So here, back door is the topic, the setting already known or mentioned, and the policeman is the focus, so the new or important information. So in the basic variety, the new or focus information always comes last. So next slide. So example of the basic variety. So here's an example from an Italian learners or German describing a Charlie Chaplin scene. So since it is an Italian language book, so I'll translate that. So the first is now Charlie come in a restaurant and eat. And when it's ready, go. A police come. So a Charlie say, pay. Charlie say the police, pay what all I eat, and the police now pay. Not Charlie the police, and away bring Charlie. And now come a car, and Charlie leaves. And Charlie leaves. So that is the meaning of the some example that are presented in the PPT book. So in the screen, so you can see the example book. So even though the grammar is not perfect, the story is understandable. This shows that the basic variety is a simple, rule-based system that helps learners communicate basic meanings before they master complex grammar. Researchers also noticed that this system is not strongly influenced by the learner's first language or the target language, meaning learners from different countries use very similar structure at this stage. The basic variety is an early stage in the language learning shared by many learners because it has three main kind of rules, which is the phrasal, words order rules, semantics, who does the action come first, and pragmatics, which is new information comes last. So it helps learners communicate meaning with simple, consistent patterns, even without complex grammar. So the next slide is this time talk, developing the means to talk about pastime. Some researchers who study how people learn language focus on how learners express specific meanings such as time, place, or feelings like possibility and necessity, which are called modality. So for example, Dietrich and colleagues, which is studied how learners talk about time or temporality. The second is the focus on how learners talk about place or spatial location, and explored how learners keep their ideas connected and consistent in conversation, while Soberly and Bardavi-Harlick examined how learners express modalities such as using words like can, must, or might. So according to Bardavi-Harlick, learners go through three main stages: when learning to talk about time, the pragmatic stage, the lexical stage, and the morphology stage. So in the lexical stage, no. So the first, in the pragmatic stage, learners do not yet use verb tenses such as part of future forms. Instead, they depend on help from other speakers, on clues from the situation, and on comparing, on constructing or contrasting events to show time order. For example, a learner might say, now I go home. Yesterday I stay here. So even though the grammar is simple, the listener can still understand the time meaning because of context and comparison. So the next one is the lexical stage. So learners begin to use words to show time instead of relying only on context. They use time and place adverbs such as now, then, here, and there. Connective words like and then calendars such as May or Saturday, and verbs that show sequence such as start and finish and finish. So for example, a learner might say, yesterday I go to school and then I eat lunch. So the verbs are not marked for past tense, but the meaning is clear because of the time words and the order of the actions. So the third one is the morphology stage. So in the stage, learners begin using verb endings or verb forms to mark tense and aspect. So this means they start to show when something is happened and whether it completed or continuing. For example, they might say, I went to school yesterday or I was studying last night. At this stage, learners begin to use grammar to express time more precisely. So many examples of these early stages can be found in the ESF project and other studies So one example comes from Hamad, an Arabic speaker learning English, who wrote a diary entry that was rich in time expression in his writing. He used words like yesterday, today, then and after that to show when things happen. Even though the words were not always correctly marked for tense, this shows that learners can successfully talk about time before they fully mastered verb tenses.